Sir, 2 unidentified objects. Approaching Earth at approximately Mach 4.
Switch over to laser radar.
Right.
Two monsters. One of them is Ghidorah. The other one is new. A completely new sound.
Look up there. Those 2 space monsters. The one with the 3 heads is King Ghidorah. And that one's Gigan. We're controlling them. Their action patterns are programmed on these 2 tapes here.
What is up, all my kaiju friends and fans? This is Phil, the Kaiju King, from my collection room here in Greater Cincinnati. And in this video, I'll be taking a look at Gigan and talking about Gigan, in particular the Showa Gigan. I do have the X Plus versions of the 2004 Final Wars Gigan, both the chainsaw versions and the hook hand versions, and they are very nicely done. And that Gigan is actually gives Godzilla a very good fight in that movie, in my opinion. He puts up a good fight. I think he puts up a better fight than Ghidorah did, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. But that Gigan, I call the kaiju in that movie, except for Ghidorah, I call them ninja kaiju, because they're all really slender, athletic kaiju, it seems like, in the movie. They do crazy stuff. I mean, it's a pretty wild film. But Gigan is pretty cool in that movie. He's more slender, more slimmed down, more athletic Gigan, but he does give Godzilla a good fight in that film. Now I will bring forth the 30 centimeter X Plus Gigan 1972 from the film Godzilla vs. Gigan. Let's bring him forward right now. And here he is, folks. Gigan 1972 30 centimeter X Plus version. It's a very, very nice figure. As far as the movie goes, it's top 3 for me favorite movies for sure. It's a sentimental favorite because of Gigan. Gigan, of course, is my favorite Godzilla nemesis or enemy. Of all the Godzilla enemies, this is my favorite. He's just a very to me, he's the most uniquely designed kaiju in the Godzilla universe. Very unique. When I first seen him, I remember thinking, what in the world is that? You know, because he's just very unique. He's pretty awesomely done, awesomely designed, well concept, I think. I just love him. And I know the film has some issues with stock footage. I mean, there's stock footage from several movies in there. Ghidorah, the 3-headed monster. There's stock footage from War of the Gargantuas. I'm pretty sure when Gigan's crawling on the ground and they show the mazer shooting the trees, that is actually footage from War of the Gargantuas when they were trying to kill Gyra. So there's multiple, areas of stock footage, and I know that, and I know it's marred by that, but it's just this guy is the one that really draws me to that movie every time. And plus, that Godzilla is in my favorite suits line, as far as that suit and the next suit, the 73 through 75. So those 2 things, but especially Gigan, just because Gigan is my favorite adversary to Godzilla. As far as the movie goes, he is summoned by the Space Hunter M Space Hunter Nebula aliens to try to conquer the Earth, and they want perfect peace, as they say in the film. But they are really wearing human disguise, and they are actually giant like cockroaches. They're pretty wicked looking when it's revealed, and they're just big old giant bugs, so it's pretty wild. But Gigan is brought in an assistant in the form, to me, of King Ghidorah. King Ghidorah is second fiddle to Gigan in the movie, in my opinion. And Godzilla shows up with his tag team partner Angus, and they commence the battle in the nuclear industrial oil refinery area, and then they battle across the countryside. And what it is Gigan and Ghidorah are luring them to the Godzilla tower where the aliens are, and they will use its powerful lasers and weapons to try to do Godzilla in. And they do manage to get him there, and the Godzilla tower about takes him out. And then Gigan is, of course, the first kaiju to make Godzilla bleed with this big hook, hits him in the head 5 or 6 times and busts him open. And then he also flies up and hits him with his belly saws and cuts him, and it's just a brutal fight. Gigan puts a brutal battle on Godzilla in the film. It's a really great film, but Anguirus and Godzilla do prevail in the end. Of course, this is the era of superhero Godzilla, as everybody knows, and I guess I'm not ashamed to say that the superhero era of Godzilla is my favorite design of Godzilla, and it's the movies I harken back to the most as a child and recall and remember watching in amazement as a child, and that's why I think that those particular 2 suits are my favorite. But this movie is a classic Showa era. Does have the issues with the stock footage, but other than that, it's great. Alright, as far as this figure goes, he is 30 centimeters in scale, but he is kind of short, and I agree with what people have said about him being short. You will see that in the size comparisons. His body painting nap is gold where the scaled areas are, and green where the regular skin is. His tail goes down and then goes up. There's a nice silver spike on the end of the tail, and then a single row of silver spikes on the tail, and I'm calling these silver because that's really what they look like. They look silver to me. The spikes on his tail, the spikes at the end of his fins, and the spikes on his head, and his hooks on his feet and his arms, and his blade, it all looks silver more than gray to me. As far as the skin texture, it's nicely done with some wrinkling and some suit wrinkle areas on the legs, on the arms. Very well done as far as that goes. The fins on the back of his back, there are 3, 1 in the middle, 2 on either side. They are a golden color, more of a deeper gold than a darker gold than the gold on the scales of his body. And also they are nicely done in between the membrane, their membrane, and the supports for the membrane. They have nice wrinkling definition from the suit, and if you watch the movie and look closely at his spines on, or these spines on his back, they do have this wrinkling showing up on the suit during the filming, but it's nicely executed on that. And then like I said, all the tips of these are silver. His feet are the hooked feet, just like his hands are the hooked, silver in color. Of course, his legs and knee area, his knees have the Gigan knee pads, I call, like he's a pro wrestler or something. He's got like knee pads on there, and you can see that in the film as well. Of course, his midsection has scaling on either side of the saw, then some green skin color on the outer, and then up underneath his underarms, more green gold scaling, and then up here on his upper chest and neck area, gold scales. The saw is nicely done. It's kind of got crooked spots in it, but in the movie you see that if you see him head on, his saw is not perfectly lined up. It's got some little crooked wavy spots. So that's really cool how they did that. The blades are nice and detailed. As far as his head goes, it's all green. None of the gold scales are up on the head area, but it's nicely done. Some wrinkling in the head area and the neck area of the suit. 4 big old spikes on the back of his head and neck area, nicely done. 2 big spikes sticking out either side of his jaw. His top jaw is hooked like a chicken or a bird, and the bottom jaw is more flat. His eye is one big visor like a cyclops eye, and above it is a little red dot in the middle. And that's same as the suit, just like the suit. It's very nicely done. in the inside of his mouth. He has rows of teeth only on the top jaw, and they're about halfway back to the back. They don't come all the way to the front. And that's how his teeth were in the film. So it's a very accurate rendition of Gigan, in my opinion. And he does have some articulation in his arms, which is pretty cool. You can move them either way, keep them however, but he does have articulation, which is nice to see. It's a very nicely done figure. If you don't have this guy, it's a classic Showa era kaiju from Toho, and personally my favorite, as I said, and I really do enjoy this figure and I highly recommend it. And I'm hoping we get another Gigan down the road. I know they've announced a while back a gigantic Gigan, but we've not seen head nor hair of it, but I'm sure he's coming, so I can't wait for it. But I'd like to have another 30 centimeter Gigan, maybe in the favorite sculptors line or something. That would be cool. Alright, I'll do some size comparisons and we'll move on to that right now. Alright everybody, I'm back. This is my 30 centimeter X Plus Godzilla 2004 from Final Wars with my 1972 X Plus Gigan. I figured I'd bring up the first Gigan with the last Godzilla a Gigan fought, which is 2004. So as you can see, this Gigan is short. He should be probably another ½ inch taller to an inch taller to scale right. But I'll bring up some Showa era Godzillas here in a minute to also show that. Alright, let's move on to the next size comparison right now. Alright everybody, I'm back. I've got my X Plus 30 centimeter Godzilla 68 and my custom made Godzilla 1971. They look pretty good with this Gigan, but he is short. As you can see by these pictures and stuff, he should be an inch taller, probably, roughly. Godzilla is too tall for this Gigan, so I like the sizing of Godzilla, so we need a taller Gigan. We need him about an inch taller, roughly, I would say, would be good. But he don't look too bad with these two, other than the height. The height is the issue. He is short for these two, so. But other than that, he don't look too bad. Alright, I'll do one final size comparison and we'll move on to that right now. Alright everybody, here I've got my custom Godzilla tower with my X Plus Gigan 72 30 centimeter. They look pretty cool together. Of course, the Godzilla tower is on a base, so it's about a ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch taller than Gigan. So if you took that off, it'd be pretty cool. I think it'd look good together. Alright, I'll move on to some final thoughts on Gigan, and let's go ahead and do that now. Alright everybody, I'm back. This is an excellent figure from X Plus. I mean, it's an older figure. I know it's 2 to 3 years old at minimum. I'd say if they did one now with their advances in sculpting and their the way they've gotten better and better, everyone knows over the last couple of years, X Plus has really improved their sculpting and their details and their definition in their figures. I have a feeling if they tackled another Gigan, it would probably far surpass this one, but this one's great. I love it. It's going to be my sentimental favorite for even if they give us that gigantic. It's just my first Gigan I've gotten. It's the only Gigan other than the two Final Wars versions. But this is the only Showa Gigan I own right now, period. This is it right here. So I do have at least 1 or 2 customs though, commission involving Gigan. So when I get those eventually, those will be pretty cool, I'm sure, from Mark. But this X Plus Gigan, I would highly recommend this to any collector, especially if you love the Showa era as I do. And if you have any kind of admiration for Gigan, I would definitely recommend this. Earlier this year, they had a 25 centimeter nighttime version come out, and I could kick my butt because I didn't get it. I regret not getting it, so maybe down the road sometime I can get one. But that thing looked really cool too. All right, I want to thank everyone for tuning into my channel. I will bring the camera closer for a close-up of Gigan. I appreciate everyone's support and viewing my channel. And if you have any comments, leave them below. If you like the video, like it. I appreciate everyone's time. This is Phil, the Kaiju King, from my collection room in Greater Cincinnati, and I wish you all a very blessed day.